When you discovered the law of attraction, you started to believe anything was possible. Life got better, much better. Now you want more, but it's not working. That's where the Manifest It Now show comes in. If you've been waiting for someone who can teach you the practical application to manifest quicker and easier while having more, turn the volume up, because the dynamic duo, Cassie Parks and Ginny Gain, are ready to teach you how to live the law of attraction like they do. It's time to laugh and learn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Manifest It Now. I'm here with Cassie Parks.
And I'm here with Ginny Gain.
Our topic that we're going to talk about today is going to be what to do when you don't have the money for coaching, and it's something that you want to do.
Yes. We're totally going to explore that second part in a big way, too.
Yeah.
But first, what's awesome?
What's awesome is that I am surrounded by so much love and so much fun. And I've had my brother here for as I said, the past week. And now my other friends are here and they're bringing their new baby. And it's just so exciting. I finally get to meet her. They're coming in a couple of days. And it's just going to be so fun to have them here and have friends here from home, like back in Canada. And yeah, that's awesome. And that's what I'm excited about.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. What about you?
That's awesome. I'm excited. I'm really excited that the sun is shining and it's warm outside here. It is not in the below freezing, which it has been for a little while. And so I'm excited about spring coming and the pool and all the things that come with spring and summer.
Remember when you were trying to convince me that Denver has the most sun of anywhere?
Well, it does. It does. That's actually a fact. You can look it up. It's over 300 days. But yeah, I get it. I had friends that were near you a couple weeks ago and they were like, it rained the whole time. And I was like, oh.
That is so funny. Yeah, we have bouts of rain. And it's funny because at Christmas too, so many people were visiting, right? And it was it rained the whole time. They left and it was sunny. And it's funny, when my brother came, there was a cold spell the days my brother was here. I mean, it wasn't cold for him, but I was like, oh, it's cold out. And he's rolls his eyes at me.
It's funny how quickly you can adapt to the warm weather, huh?
It's so interesting. Yeah, we were at a wedding a few weekends ago, and I was talking to another Canadian, and we were both standing by the heater. And I'm like, we're the Canadian, something's wrong with this.
Right?
Yeah. But it was funny.
That's awesome.
So where do you want to get started with our topic today?
Well, I think a great place to start is first steps. And then I want to talk about maybe if you don't know, this is a little off topic, but you want something, you need a spark, a something. That something might be doing the Manifest It Now live virtual event, which is $222. So that's a great place to start, I think. And you get to ask us anything. So you can if you feel stuck on anything and you have a question, or you just want us to talk really specifically about something that impacts you just want to be around us and other amazing Manifest It Now tribe members, that's cool too. But I just want to remind everybody that's coming up April 18th. Yep. Couple hours in the morning. So you'll get your coffee or your tea and you'll just pop onto Zoom and you'll see Jenny and I and everyone else, and you get to ask us whatever you want. So if you've ever been listening to the podcast and you're like, oh man, I wish they would have talked more about that, or I wish I could ask them this question, you get to do that live and get your answer specifically answered for you.
Absolutely. And don't underestimate the power. We talk about in our lives, how powerful it is to be in the room with us. There's a lot of energy exchanged on Zoom. In our group stuff that Cassie and I both do, the women feel it. They're like, oh, it's just I love just being here. Or even on one-on-one calls that I have, it's yes, just spending an hour together, it's uplifting, just the energy that's exchanged. And that's a big part of what will happen too during the live.
Yes.
The virtual live, yeah.
That's you can't like quantify that. Like that's not, there's not a dollar value in that. It's just like because it shifts who you are. It opens you up to a different place that isn't about, I think so often, and interesting, like our topic is coaching today, but when you read a book or you're trying to do something, you're doing it in the same energy that you've always done it. But when you open up and you get this impact of other energy, it just naturally opens up this possibility that is often, you could do it on your own. It's just different. And it does it in a way that you can't like, I don't know, that just doesn't happen if you're reading a book or you can't measure. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah. It's interesting because when I was talking to one of my clients this week and she was having an amazing week, and I'm like, look, this is a lot of momentum you have rolling, and like, let's trace it back a little bit so you know where it started. And we kind of went back and back, and she's like, so it was the call with you. And I'm like, yeah, that was a start. And it wasn't like, it was a shift. And then, but there was still more like other little things after that and after that and after that. But it's getting that thing that kind of like gets the ball rolling in the other, or in the direction that you want. That's super powerful.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think one of the reasons we talk about the 222 or the Manifest It Now Live virtual as a great starting place is in terms of the commitment and like the commitment of your time, which is super valuable, and don't underestimate that. And the financial commitment, it's a great place, like in terms of investing in coaching and getting support and help on your LOA journey. It's not, $10 and it's not $5,000. And so it feels like a great place to start in terms of levels. Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree.
So what would you, so if someone was like, okay, great. Yeah, it's my goal or my intention, because I hear this a lot. I'd like to manifest the money to work with you. I'd like to manifest the money to go to the virtual. How would you approach that? Because I think that's like what goes on in our heads a lot. Oh, I'm going to manifest the money to do that.
Oh man. So I would say yes. So it depends on if this is the first time you're having this situation, or this is the seventh time and it hasn't manifested before.
Yeah, that's an awesome point.
Yeah.
Because the difference is like one, you have trust, and one you don't.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I'm going to like believe it's going to happen again. Right. And so if it's the first time, awesome. Like put it on your calendar, do all the things, act as if like block out that time on your calendar, go to the page so that you know what it looks like. So when you're going to sign up, when the money shows up, do all of those things, which is manifestitnowlive.com. And if you've been there before, you're going to have to clear your cache so that it's not the old Manifest It Now Live. So you get the new one. And so if like go to the page, so you check it out, you see what it looks like, you know what it's going to be like to pay, put it on your calendar and consider it a done deal. If this is the first time, right? And do it. If this is the seventh time, so here's going to be my advice, which might sound counter LOA, and it's not. And we'll talk about why. Like figure out how to pay for it.
I love it.
Like figure it out. And not often do Jenny or I say figure it out. And if that's what you need, if you know, like you need coaching, you need to bust it open, you need to make a shift, you need something because what you're doing isn't working, and you need some version of coaching, like figure out how to do it. And there's a lot of ways to do this, like that just come to mind, right? So there's so many options. Like you could intend that like something extra comes into your world, like watching someone's dog or doing something or whatever comes up, or you could be more, again, like make it happen. There's Instacart, there's Uber, there's Lyft, there's, that was the other one I thought about. You could go on Facebook Marketplace and you could sell everything that like doesn't make you happy anymore, like which is a manifesting event all in itself. That right so there is powerful. Like the magic. It's so powerful. And like just do that. Like I saw this show one time and I was trying to figure out what the title was with Jenny. It's on, I don't know if it's on Amazon Prime or I don't know where it is. Anyway, that this woman, it was like reality show, and she would, I think it was like $2,000. She would find 10 things in your house worth $2,000 or something. And she'd go to people.
Ooh, that's even fun. Like if you're listening, have fun with that. Go do that. There's 10 things in your house worth $2,000.
Yeah. Like so go fun. Find them and the things that you don't like that are just sitting there, right? And you like people sell stuff on Marketplace all the time for money. Like if you're on Facebook, like, you know.
Side break, Cassie, I've been like a Marketplace master lately, like with the moves. I'm like, this is gone, this is gone, this is coming, this is gone. I've been having so much fun with it.
I love it. And so right there is your evidence. If you were like, oh, that doesn't sound fun. Oh, that doesn't sound this. Oh, if you had any thought that like, oh, real manifestors don't do stuff like that. I know someone out there has had that thought before or that belief. Like Jenny just told you how she did it and how it was fun.
Like, and the people you meet. It's amazing. Yeah, some people have like it's like a sketchy thing to do. I'm like, oh, not for me. I'm like, I meet the best people. And I do. Right? They're so fun. Yeah.
So it's a great way to practice your LOA on the whole journey, right? This is going to be fun. I'm going to get the money. It's going to be easy. I'm going to like clean stuff out. Like anything you can decide there's a reason not to do it, or you can find a way to go on the journey and enjoy the ride. Mm-hmm. And that like is so important. We're coming up with money. And in the beginning, like that's important. And I would have totally. So for me, we're going to talk a little bit about our own stories and coaching and stuff like that. But in the very, very beginning, it was sort of a bridge to coaching, but it was using energy to shift your thoughts and beliefs. And I called it like energetic counseling. And when I found that and I found the practitioner, like, and I did it once, like, and I did it because someone was like, oh my gosh, you just have to do this. And I just believed in her energy so much and felt the calling. I resonated with it. I had a huge shift. And after that, for probably 2 to 5 years, like she charged $75 a session, I think, or you could maybe get like 5 for $300. Every time like $300 found its way into my life, like it didn't go buy a new like TV or a new whatever, it went to pay for that because I wanted to get better. And so every time, and I couldn't afford to go every week, but I would buy the session, and when I needed it, I would go. And when extra money showed up, that was my first thing because I wanted to change my life. And so that was the investment that I made. And if I was going back to that moment, heck yes, I would get on Facebook Marketplace and I would be selling stuff. I might do Instacart. So my sister loves to have her house. She doesn't like to clean her house. But it's not currently in her budget to have a house cleaner, right? So she does Instacart instead of clean her own house. Like she loves shopping. Like she loves to go shopping, and like it's a game. She's made it into a game for her. Like if you ever watched Supermarket Sweep, we did. And so it's kind of has that feeling. And so she Instacarts for a couple hours so that she can pay someone to clean her house because she's doing what feels good, right? Versus what doesn't feel good.
Awesome. That is so awesome. It reminds me of like when you're a kid and you want something and, you know, you just have to save up the money and do it. So you go and you cut people's grass and you ask them, can I rake your leaves for $5? You know, I don't know if you guys ever got those kids knocking on your door, or if you were ever one. Yeah. I was one. And can I cut your grass? Can I wash your windows? Can I wash your car? It's like being creative like that for something you really want. You know, when you're a kid, it's probably like a toy or something.
Right.
Or, you know, I know my brother did this for like video games. And, but it's that same sense of, and I think it really comes down to priorities. Like when it's important to you, then you can do these things. And it's taking action like this. It isn't trying to figure it out, and it isn't going against LOA or working hard. When you're taking action based on a decision that you're inspired about, you're in the state of being of like, I'm doing it and it's happening. There's no, I'm trying to make it happen when you're going and selling something and earning money. You're not trying to do anything. You're doing it. you're in that state of like being the creator. Because you go and take an action to get money you're still being a manifestor. You're still manifesting money. Because I think sometimes we have that idea that, I'm just going to sit back and it's going to come unexpected. If it's, the way I manifested it comes unexpected. And that's just not always the case. Manifesting is about turning our thoughts into things. And there's a gazillion ways to do that.
Mm-hmm. And I think that the better you get, the more you do get to sit back. But in the beginning, it's not that. It's looking for the opportunity where I can get what I want and building up that belief. Like, oh, okay, I got, $200 for coaching or $222 for coaching this time, or, $100 for one session or whatever it is, right? Yeah. And seeing that what happens afterwards, and getting that return, and then doing it again and doing it again. Yeah. And then you become the manifester. Because what you're saying to the universe is, I'm willing to go get it. And this is different. And it's not quite coming to, like, you're not pushing. When you're willing to go get what you want, it's a little different. It's different than like, working so hard to make your business work. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I want to highlight the one thing you said because I loved it in terms of at the beginning. So with this idea of like manifesting is just sitting back and doing nothing, which is never ever been the case. I don't know where this came, but you get to do more of that as you practice. So at the beginning, you're kind of balancing, because at the beginning, you guys know this, if you remember back to your journey, you're like, I can't just really think about it and it manifests. Like there's so much doubt there, right? And so you start by taking actions that you feel good about and then watching it happen and developing that belief, that reality of if I want it, I get it. Now that I'm saying this out loud, this was something that was ingrained in me from like a not young, but like middle-age age. Is like, because I started practicing if I want it, I get it. If I want it, I get it. And I got it a lot of times through action. But I already had that going in me, which made then relaxing about the journey a lot easier because I already had the vibe going of like, I get what I want.
Right. Me too.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I was willing to go get it, especially like if there was a way to pay for it. Like something that was, because then what I had to really learn was like, you don't go out and like pay clients to become your clients as a coach. You know what I mean? That sort of defeats the purpose. I really want a client. Can I pay you? Yeah. So, but I had that, right? If I could go get it, if I could pick up, because I was really good at like attracting extra jobs. Like I was, in high school, I was sitting and I was waiting for the counselor when a mom came in and she wanted a Spanish tutor. And I was volunteering. I was volunteering because I needed some volunteer hours to do a program commitment to graduate. Like it was part of graduation. And I was trying to volunteer this, and she's like, "Oh no, I'll pay you like $20 an hour." And so
nice.
I was like, I know, like 18, like $20 an hour after softball game, go and work. It was perfect, but like. So I always knew like if that was the case, I could create the money. Like the more money came into my life, easier. When money got easier and it came sort of in a steady paycheck, that's when I had to start learning to manage my money mindset. But yeah, I had that ingrained, like I can go get it, which is so beneficial to manifesting.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's powerful. Mm-hmm. The other thing I want to touch on for a second too is where integrity comes into play. So be very aware of what you're saying you want. So because, we hear, or I'm sure I've said things, but like, oh yeah, I'd love a coach. Like, really? Like, do you actually want that? Or, and people would say, oh yeah, I want more money. But there's a difference between I want more money and I'm willing to show up and manifest more money. Like those things are very different. And if you are someone who says a lot of things like, yeah, I want this. Yeah, I want this. Yeah, I want this, without the actual desire behind that, without the readiness. No, that's not the right word. The willingness.
I think it's willingness.
Yes. The willingness.
To do the work.
Yes. to do the work, then you're going to create a lack of integrity within yourself, and you won't have as much strength and leverage as you're moving through when you are willing to do something. Like when you are willing to do something, you have the universal leverage behind you. And that's all you need is willingness. The answers will show up. But when you say things like, yeah, I want that and I want that, why isn't it happening for me? This is what I meant to say. So be aware of if you really want it, and only say things, only express the things you really want. And I've caught myself doing this in conversations, different conversations when people are like, oh yeah, I would love to travel the world, or I'd love to go to this place. And I want to go there too. And then I've caught that. I'm like, wait, Ginny, I want to go there someday. But I really am bringing awareness to speaking what I really want and saying it. So if there's something you want, but you're not ready for it now, you can say yes, someday I'll want that. Does that make sense?
100%. And I've done that too with, in business, someone was like, oh, I did such and such this year. I'm like, that's really cool. I'm going to add that to things I want. And 2 minutes later, it was like, no, actually, I don't want that. It's really cool that you did that, but I'm going to honor me. And I know I don't want that.
Yes. How many times does that happen? You're having a conversation with a girlfriend. You're like, I want that too.
Yeah. Right.
But do you really, or do you just want it because she had it or he had it or whatever?
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. And it's so important to pay attention. I love that you're bringing this into our conversation about money, because everything that you say, there's always a ripple effect. And you're always creating towards what you want or not by what it goes beyond saying a mantra or having a thought or doing a vision board, like we always say, but it goes with that integrity is so important, because if you say you want something, but like you said, there's no follow through or it's not real, how does the universe know when what you really want comes up? If you're just always I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that, but there's nothing in you that has that willingness, to become that person.
Yes.
To change it. Yeah. To become the person who has that thing.
Yeah.
And
oh man, so exciting.
I know. Do you have more on that? Because I want to tie the becoming into going out and doing something.
Go.
So when we talked a little bit about, I was don't believe if you think, going out and selling your stuff on Facebook Marketplace to get what you want. And coaching, we're specifically talking about this topic. That's becoming the person who has what you want. It's doing what you need to do to become that person, right? Versus just hoping and if you can see the path, if there's any inspiration, whether you're listening to us or if you've had it before, where you're oh, I could do that to get that money, or I could do that, following through on that, being clear, this is what I want, and taking the steps to become the person who has the money, that's LOA. Becoming the person, doing what it takes to take the steps is part of the becoming. And you always have to take the steps, whether that is selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace or sitting down and looking at your life and, choosing different thoughts. It's all the work. Yeah.
Or I was just thinking another idea of becoming that person is reorganizing where funds are going to go this month. So you find another $222. I'm going to eat out, a couple less times because this is more important to me than that dinner right now. Next month it might be different. But there's lots of space in there too, generally.
There is. And being a good manifestor, being good at LOA doesn't mean not making choices. Because every choice
those are tied together. That is being deliberate, so making choices.
Making choices and making conscious choices, right? And so I think a lot of people somebody's brain might be going, Jenny, well, that's denying myself something. But it's not. It's going for what you really want versus what I want a little bit and what I want a lot. And honoring what I want a lot so that I start attracting and creating the life I want a lot of instead of the life I want a little bit.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a little bit about our experiences investing in coaching and give some examples?
Absolutely. So I totally gave the example where I'd get $300 and I'd go invest in my coach.
Right. Yeah.
I gave that one. What's one of yours?
Well, Cassie and I were joking before because I was like, Cassie, when I tell you how I invest in coaching, you're going to laugh at me. I said, you might coach me in the middle of the episode. Because if I know I want a course, a program, coaching, whatnot, and I don't have the money, the cash sitting on hand, I just put it on my card, like put on my credit card. Or I borrow money from myself, I have this figured out and then pay it back. And so, but I could probably say with certainty that every time I've invested in self-development, unless it was like a low cost something, it's been putting it on credit or going into quote unquote debt for it and then paying it back. I told Cassie this, I just finished paying back the money I invested to publish my book and go through that program. I just finished paying that back a couple years ago. And it was like, that was like a life-changing thing, a total conscious investment. I loved it. I did not have the money for that at the time, but it was 100% yes. And so let's talk about the difference between, like, that's possible for some people and it's not for others. But I think you were saying, Cass, if all your cards were maxed out or something and you still wanted it, what would you do?
I would sell my stuff. I would donate plasma. I would find a way. I would do that for coaching. Right? Thought about that before, right? But yeah. And I've totally, before we move on, I want to make sure that we get this in the episode. I've put a ton of my self-development. In fact, I think almost everything after that $300, like when I would pay that particular, I called her a coach, but when I would pay for that, I would always pay that when I had it. And most everything, there was a certain point where I started doing it on my credit card because I wanted bigger. And Jenny thought I was going to coach her. And I'm like, no, I think that's awesome. Because there's a lot of reasons I think that you're being the person, you're saying I'm worth it. I sometimes, for some people, not for everybody, having to make that payment every month reminds you to keep doing the work.
Yeah.
Because, if it's a little bit different, like if you're paying on it, like you said, Jen, and I don't necessarily think that you needed this, but in some cases, I think it's helpful. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to go back I'm not going to look for something else because I'm still paying for this. So I want to go back and use that knowledge. I want to check in with myself. Am I using that knowledge? Or am I just looking to pay for something else to do a quick fix, Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the good signs too. Like if you're looking at coaching and you don't have the money there and you're not willing to, it's not comfortable enough for you to put it on your credit card, there might be a part of that is like, I'm not ready. Like it's not important enough or some element of that. Would you agree?
Yeah. And I think important enough gets a lot of things in people's head, but take whatever and I think it's okay. I think we just need to it makes people go like, no, it is important. It is important for me to change. But what you have to do instead of have that reaction is look at yourself and go, oh, you know what? No, it's not important enough. Or ask yourself, is it something else? Do I not believe enough? Right?
Oh,
do
man,
I not trust enough in myself?
Yes. I just got goosebumps when you said that because that could be such a transformational point. If you've had that thought and you said, no, it is important. And then you take a step back and you're like, okay, but is it? Or what's really going on? Because I'm not, and I've been in this position too. I'm like, I could do this, but I'm not, and thinking you're ready for something is different than being ready for something. And you will feel the difference in that. And this is a great place to kind of assess that for yourself.
Yeah. And in that vein of assessing it, it's okay if you're not ready.
Yes.
Just don't put it on the money. Just don't put it, just stop making it about the money. Be real with yourself. If you're like, oh, is it important? And you step back and you're like, I'm not ready for whatever reason. I don't feel comfortable. I'm not trusting yet. It doesn't, you're right. It doesn't feel important enough to say yes today. That's all valuable information, and it's okay to not be ready. Just don't put it on the money, because what you're doing is you're perpetuating a story you don't want to be true about how you can't afford to invest in yourself and how you're not willing to do it, right?
And how there's not enough money, and there's not enough money. I can't do it because there's not enough money.
Yeah. And that's the story you don't want to be true. So take a step back and find the truth and just own the truth, because owning the fact that you're not ready is so much more powerful than putting it on the money.
So amazing. This just came up actually with one of my clients, different stage, but she was talking about travel, and she's like, well, I want to have extra money for travel. And we talked about it, and I'm like, is it really about the money? And I'm like, are you ready to travel? We talked about it. She's like, oh, I'm not ready to be that person that travels all this time. And I'm like, there you go. So it's not about the money. And coming back again, the integrity, the alignment with owning that statement is going to totally line you up with the next thing on your path. It's going to open up. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to open up, and it's going to show you what you might need to work on. Right? But when, like because you're open to it, because you're being truthful with yourself, you're like, I'm not ready, I'm not this. Like, then you can take a step back, breathe, and figure out if there's anything to do, or just wait for inspiration on sort of how to become ready. But since it's not on the money, it's not, first of all, it's not false, because like there's this weird thing that happens when it's not really about the thing you think it is. You can't create from that space, because it's you're anytime, and you can't fix anything in that space either, because you're trying to fix something that's not really the problem. Not wrong. Yes.
Yeah, it's not wrong, right? And not that you have to fix being ready. You don't have to fix that, but that's often what happens. You can just be open. But taking it's about the money off of it allows you to see so much more clearer, and that's where the magic is.
That is amazing. And I feel like that's a perfect place to wrap up with this.
Yeah.
With this topic.
I like it.
All right. Hope you guys enjoyed. That was super fun.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Go be awesome.
Thank you for joining us on the Manifest It Now show, where you learn how to leverage the law of attraction to manifest your dreams. Now that you're inspired, share the love and review us on iTunes. While you're there, remember to subscribe.